By the time I was a sophomore, I was out of the dorms and a full-fledged brother of my fraternity. This was the first true year of my independence. The summer before, I had started growing out my hair and listening to widespread panic. I bought a dog, an iguana, and a mountain bike. Needless to say, I was smoking a great deal of weed. This was going to be the new version of Bert I presented to the masses. The high school athlete, meathead, finger-fucking in the back of the Jetta guy, he was dead. Now, I was a sensitive guy with social insights and longer hair. I moved in with two friends, Hartley and a guy we all called Cheese. The three of us had all gone to high school together, and we'd known each other since before that. Hartley was, and still is, an alpha male. But he was an alpha male with a twist. He had been a twin, and his brother died when he was 10, or something like that. What that does to the average boy, I can't tell you, but I can tell you what it did to Hartley. He was a massively compassionate friend when it was just the two of you, but in groups, he was an unyielding bully. He was tall, strong, and aggressively handsome, something he was well aware of. With a blazer on, he looked like a Baldwin. With a whiskey in his hand, he acted like a Kennedy. He loved to fight and always won. When he saw the changes I was making in my lifestyle, he openly mocked me, but then, privately, asked me to help him buy a dog, an iguana, and a mountain bike. Cheese, on the other hand, was a beta. He had known Hartley and his brother since before his brother died. Cheese would always say Hartley's brother was the true alpha of the two. He and Cheese had been close mostly because they were the biggest kids of their age. Cheese had developed before most of his peers. He was already shaving in 8th grade, but by the time we got to college, the rest of us had caught up or even passed him in size. This either humbled him or put things into perspective, because he was a much quieter, sensitive guy by the time we were sophomores in college living together. Hartley and I joined a fraternity, but Cheese waited to make sure his grades were up to snuff at first. Like a faggot, said Hartley. What the fuck? We were such bad people. So we joined the next semester, and by the time we all moved in, Hartley and I were brothers, and Cheese was finishing up his pledgeship. Cheese and I hung out very easily, as I find I do with most people. Hartley and Cheese, meanwhile, were closer with each other than I was with either of them, but Hartley was relentlessly rough on him. I wonder if Cheese saw in Hartley the little brother he really was, and that bothered Hartley, but still, Cheese was quick to get pissed and Hartley loved it. Cheese forgave even faster. I knew that was the reason deep down Hartley felt so comfortable fucking with him. If Hartley was a bully, Cheese was passive-aggressive to the core. Hearing one day that Hartley had a fear of snakes, Cheese promptly drove to a pet store and bought a large python. That was Cheese's way of fighting back. On our first day in our new apartment, Hartley walked upstairs and decided who would live in what rooms. With the amount of pussy I get, and my new dog, I'm going to need the room with the private bath and balcony. You two faggots can share a bathroom. Bert, you get the room in the corner because you have a girlfriend, and Cheese, you get the room that looks like a closet. Hartley agreed to pay $100 more for the better room. I took the medium one, and Cheese took all his worldly possessions, including his big screen TV, a desk, wall-sized cabinet, and stereo with surround sound, and turned his closet into a personal oasis. The only thing he left downstairs was his snake, of course. The guy's got electronics worth 10 grand in his room, Hartley said, and we've got a 20-inch TV and a goddamn alarm clock for entertainment downstairs. He said if we pay $50 more a month, he'd leave it downstairs, I offered. I'm not renting his fucking entertainment system. I'll just watch TV in his room when he's not here. Which Hartley did, often. In retaliation, Cheese would leave Hartley's dog in Hartley's room with food and water, then shut the door behind it. One day, Hartley walked into my room with a smile and closed my door. My dog shit in my room again, so I greased up Cheese's brakes on his mountain bike. Let's see if we can get him to go down the Widowmaker with us. The Widowmaker was a steep hill near our house, as grueling an uphill ride as it was lightning-fast downhill. We'll get him to go with the good cop, bad cop routine. Good cop, bad cop? Yeah, the good cop's the one going up the hill, the bad cop's the one riding down. Not sure if that was the correct way to use that analogy. I said nothing and smiled. We walked into Cheese's room, and Hartley plopped down in his bed. Hey, buddy, want to go mountain biking with us? Hartley said. No, I'm going to take a nap. Oh, come on, it'll be fun.